USFL, the Rebel League that the NFL didn't respect but feared. This must-have features interviews with players and coaches like Bobby Hebert, Marv Levy, and much more. Hundreds of photos will take you back to the 80s when Donald Trump was just an emerging name in pop culture. Hall of Famers like Steve Young, Reggie White, and Jim Kelly all got their start in the USFL. Order your Silver Anniversary magazine at usflonline.com.
Hello everyone, this is Gregory Kasimis from the Metro Deli in Scarsdale. The Metro Deli has been part of the Westchester community for over 10 years. We always use the freshest and highest quality ingredients for all our dishes and catering events. Our breakfast features bagels with freshly sliced Nova. Don't miss out our thick challah French toast. For lunch, grab a booth and enjoy one of our oversized salads or our freshly cut hot deli sandwiches. We're open 7 days a week, where the coffee is always hot and freshly brewed.
Hi, this is David Wright, and you're listening to WICR.
Hello, Iona College. Welcome to
the girls' room.
My name is Emma.
My name is Emily.
My name's Olivia.
And this is our first radio show ever, so we're super psyched.
We're pretty excited.
Same. What you guys said.
And so we thought that the first topic for our show would be perfect if we sat around and just talked about our pet peeves, because we know that we all have a lot, and some of us are very vocal about them, some of us aren't, but this is the time to say them. So without further ado, who has a pet peeve for me?
I can talk about a few pet peeves.
Go ahead, Emily.
So I don't know about anybody else, but I definitely can say that when you're trying to get to class and you're rushing and all you want to do is just get there that 5 minutes extra, and you have those 4 or 5 youngins just walking like it's a daydream and they just have nowhere to go, and you're trying so hard to get past them, but you don't want to be rude. I think that is a huge pet peeve. Slow people. I don't know about you guys.
And you try and get around them each way, and it still doesn't work.
They turn, and you're walking on the snow. You're cutting through the street.
You trip because you're on the snow trying to avoid them, and you fall on your face.
You sidestep into them off the snow,
And it sucks because you end up looking like the idiot,
yep.
even though it's not even.
It's not even you.
It's not even you. To go off of
people.
that, the New Rochelle high school kids, when they get out of school,
oh my,
and they just swarm your entire life, and you have to just fit in the middle of the sea of high schoolers.
I get nervous. They're they're about 4 years younger than us, and I'm very intimidated. They come in groves, and I feel like I can never get around them. I can never get around.
Girl, when she was Rah! She was scared, tried to scare me.
I remember that.
I was scared.
I would have been scared.
I was please don't touch me. I'm okay.
They skateboard down the street,
They
and you're
skateboard.
where do I go?
One time I was walking down from Beachmont just to get food, walking down the road, and it was snow. Obviously there was snow on the ground, and these kids start taking huge handfuls of snow and start doing a snowball fight, and I'm in the middle of it trying so hard just to walk down the street, and I'm just they can't wait to go to a huge open field it had to have been on North Ave. Yep. Pet peeve number 2.
How about you give us one, Liv?
My pet peeve just happened when you send someone a 700-page novel via text and they respond, K.
That is a huge one.
You have citations, you really thought about that that text, and they respond, K. You come up with this elaborate plan.
Oh my God.
Just a K. I'm well, thank you for not even reading that, and
the worst is when you're in a fight. When you're in a fight, especially with a friend or with a significant other or whoever else it may be, and you like you said, you put your heart into it. You had this whole thing planned out. You've definitely been thinking about it all day long, exactly what you're gonna say, and it's a 3-hour later response with just the simple K. Period. Mm-hmm. It's why even respond?
I don't know. In relationships, when you come up with this great text and you're this is what I feel, and then they're oh no, can we only talk in person? And you're no, acknowledge my text.
No, read the text first, and then we can talk
so
in person.
hard.
No, but that's me in general, in fights, people are I can't talk about this now. I'm no, we're sorting this out now. I need to, this is literally taking up my life. It's crazy.
I mean, another good pet peeve could be people that are way too passive. Way too passive. Exactly what you said, Emma. If you have some sort of argument or some sort of issue with somebody, I always feel the same way, just to get it out, talk about it, sit down, let's just get it over with and move on. But I feel so many people just to keep putting the flame to the fire, like constantly, like, oh yeah, we'll hang out another day. Okay, we'll talk another day. It's like
And then it just gets pushed off and
push off, and then it makes it worse. You end up
just
getting
thinking
worse.
about it like forever. Like when someone's like, "Oh yeah, we really need to talk," and then you never schedule it, and then you just constantly think about what you're gonna say, and your narrative changes, and you're just like, "How do I do this and when?" And then you get there, and you're just like, "Yeah, this was fine," but.
Or even when you
annoying.
have like you're in the argument, like as it's happening, and you think you said everything perfect, and then you leave the argument and you're like, there was so much I left out. Like I should have told her about this. I should have said this to her. And then you're just sitting there in your room, like, do I text her for a round 2? Do I have another conversation? It's agonizing.
It's worse like after you hug it out, and then you're like, oh, but that could have been really good. Like
Yeah.
there was my point, but. You're like, I guess I'll leave it. Like, it's fine.
I'll leave it alone there.
Okay, so let's shift topics. When we were walking here, we realized that it was snowing today.
Horrible.
And
What
so
the
one
hell?
of my biggest pet peeves, like I obviously love snow. I'm from Hawaii, and so when I see snow, I freak out. That being said, when it is not plowed and I'm slipping,
Oh
that
my
cannot
God.
happen.
That I was walking to dinner to Beachmont one day, then it was like completely snowing, and it was just the ground was covered and no one was doing anything about it. I had to walk on the street because that was the only place that was almost plowed, because it was still extremely slippery. But people were actually on the way back. The guy in front of me slid the entire street. He just like from McDonald's to the dorms, like ice skated his way just down the entire way. And I was like, oh, this is because it rained while I was eating
While
dinner.
it was happening.
Yep. So it was just an ice rink, and we're like, all right, this is great.
Or the worst is when you're like the other day, same thing. I was walking to class and I thought I had my good boots on. I was like, I'm prepared, and I'm walking across the street, and there's like a line of cars waiting at the stoplight, waiting at this light, and I'm like, I'm cool, and I literally looked like I had spaghetti for legs because they were just moving all over the place, and I kept trying to keep this like cool face on, like I'm okay, like I'm not falling right now, and all the people in their cars, I swear, were laughing, and I'm like still, and I kept walking. I was like, I'm good, and I almost fell because the ice is really getting to me now.
There are so many pet peeves with just crossing the street, like when cars come out of campus and I guess the rules don't apply to them, and you're playing Frogger in the street, and you're like, okay, it says I can walk now, but people are just like coming at you, and you're like, all right.
Most times I'm kind of just like, hit me.
Yeah,
Do it.
pay my tuition, like let's go.
Yeah, like let's not abide by the rules of the road. Let's not take our like permit test again. Like let's do that round 2. How about that?
Yeah. That's great. Emma, you have another pet peeve?
I do. One of my hugest pet peeves, and this recently just happened to me, when people take like meeting time or class time to ask or voice personal questions and or concerns. Like, what? Could you have waited after class to speak to the teacher about this? Yes. Did I need to hear that? No. Like, and people just go on, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get up now. It happened with me and my 2 other sorority sisters. We're literally sitting in class, and we're like slowly getting up, and our teacher's still like having a one-to-one conversation, and me, Shannon, and Diana are all looking at each other like,
when are we gonna get up? When can we leave?
oh, I'm like, we left the class and we're like, we're never allowed. She's never allowed to speak again. Like, she can't speak in class anymore. That's
Were
crazy.
you at the leadership conference last Friday?
No.
Okay, they moved the RA decision back until 6 so that nobody in the leadership conference would get their decision, while 60 student leaders were sitting in the same room. Of course, they asked for a reflection at the end. And people just kept going. People just were like, this changed my life. They just kept going on. We all found out about the decision sitting in the same room. One girl was like, I got it, and we're all just like, oh my god. It was really bad, and people just kept going on about like this was really great, I'm coming back again, and it was just things we just kept repeating.
I'm coming back again.
We had other students come.
When people take things like way too seriously.
Oh my, that is also like another one that like what you were saying about like kids in class. Like I remember I had this class once, and this girl was so persistent about just not even raising her hands, like just blurting it out. And like the first few times I was like, I get it, you're excited, whatever. But then it was to the point where my professor would literally be mid lecture and this girl would just be like, I don't agree with you. Like, I don't agree with you. I think this is wrong. I think that you're not, teaching correctly. And it it was so bad that even my professor was like, all right, like, let's talk about this after class. And then she would like get into like fights with people in class. Like if anybody even the littlest bit like laughed, because this girl was just so animated, but like not in the most amazing animated way. I would say in like a very like obnoxious type of animated. And she would just get into fights. Like she would just be like, who's laughing? Who's this? And we'd be like, no one, like nobody. And it was just like in the middle of lecture. So like, I just want to get it over with. Like, I just want to get out of class. I just want to move on. Like, I don't want to be doing this right now.
Like, contrasting that, in my last class that I was just in, my teacher is so cool, and he just talks. He can literally lecture the entire class, and he has so many, like, great things to say, but he will ask a question, and nobody will answer.
Oh
and
my
then
God,
he'll
that's
just
the
have
worst.
to answer his own question, and then it's just, like, why are we here? Why is he here? And he'll just be like, why am I even doing this?
And I
none
feel
of one's
so
gonna
bad
talk.
too. Yeah, I end up feeling bad, and I know that I don't have anything to say. So it's like, what if? And then sometimes I feel pressured almost to like raise my hand, and then I'm like, he's like, okay, like, what do you feel? And I'm like, I don't really know what you're saying, but I just feel bad, so I'm gonna put my hand up. And that's
Same.
I do feel bad. That is a pet peeve too of mine. That's like, I know like I'm one too that like contributes to the pet peeve, but at the same time, I just always feel sometimes like bad for the professors because you know they work so hard that day, and you're just like, I don't care. I'm not gonna listen to you.
I raise my hand when I can, like when I know what we're talking
Yeah.
about, but then I'm like, I know, I can see it in your eyes that you know what he's saying, and you're just not gonna raise your hand. It's just a waste of his time and like everyone else's time because people are falling asleep in the back, and
Everyone falls asleep. That's the worst feeling too, when you're about to fall asleep and you just like nod your head and you're like, okay, I'm up. Like, okay, I'm good to go.
Okay, so let's take a quick little break, regroup. But Emily's gonna play us a song.
I hope you guys like it.
Is it playing?
I don't know, I can't hear it.
Is it playing?
I think we're still on.